Don't fight the market. You will always lose. Now, what does that actually mean? Now, if one of the things I always think about, if you guys have seen the movie Rogue Trader, right? Nick Leeson, he blew up one of the biggest banks. I forget exactly where it was, but let me just Nick Leeson, Nick Leeson. Let me just put this up here so you guys know what I'm talking about here, right? This guy right here, right? Nick Leeson, okay? Nick Leeson was an English former detective, right? He was a former derivative trader who fraudulently, unauthorized and speculatively trade results in 1995 collapse in Barron's Banking, the United Kingdom's oldest existing merchant bank. Now, here's the thing. If you've watched the movie, right, there's a movie called Rogue Trader. And if you actually watch the movie, Nick Leeson's character sits down with one of his mates on the pit, right? And his pit says, "Don't fight the market, man. Don't fight the market." Now, basically what was happening is the market was moving in one direction, and I'm pretty sure it was down at that time, and he was doing all these bullish strategies with options to then try to, maximize the return in I think it was the 8888 account. This one, so you can see this one here, $1.3 billion basically. And the reason why I say that is that because this is one of the biggest mistakes I'm seeing so many traders going around right now who lose a lot of money in the markets. Now, if you think I'm full of shit, it's like, who the hell is this John Howe guy? I give you my last year's real equity curve. And so if you go to that, a second link in the description there, it's an application from a 1% group, okay? I'm actually almost about to close that down, by the way. 1% group is a real small group that I take on every single year. It's only about 15, 20 people, around about that, depending on how I feel. And then I close it down. This year was only 15 people for that group there, okay? It's called the 1% group, and I'm showing you everything I'm doing. I'm coaching you every single day. If you're interested in that, you can apply for it. But if you think I'm full of crap, I show you my real equity curve on the second link in the description there. You can go over there. You can see not only my real equity curve, but all the people that actually get private coaching from me. You can see the results they're getting there. But the purpose of me saying that there is that one of the biggest things that I see is I'm seeing that one of the biggest mistakes that I'm seeing is people are trading with their egos. There's a lot of ego and, there's a lot of what do they call it? It's like the cape on the back. You know what I mean? And the cape on the back is trying to call tops and bottoms in markets is never a long-term strategy. Never a long-term successful strategy. Never, ever, ever, ever. So if the market is like in the case of Nick Leeson, market was going down, and he kept fighting the market, and his mate in the movie, even his mate sat down with him for lunch and he said, "Don't fight the market, man. Don't fight the market." Now, there's two ways of how people do this, okay? Firstly, if the market is trending overall in one direction, you trying to call tops in that overall trending environment is the worst strategy on the planet. You only have a really small win-loss ratio by doing that. Just look at any chart. If I bring up a chart here, right? Bingo, bango, right here. And this is a chart. And if I bring on the weekly chart here, you can see here for the last, where have been the biggest moves? We've had these corrections, but the biggest moves have been with the overall market. Yes, we have these tops through here, but look at this here. One thing that doesn't make sense to me, right, is a lot of people try to trade this here. They trade that there, this here, maybe this here as well too. They try to trade this here, they trade this here, this here, this here, this here, and they're trying to trade this here. Hang on a minute. Why not just trade that there, that there, that there, that there, that? You see what I'm saying? Where have been the biggest profits? Going with the markets. Don't fight the market, man. If the markets continue to go up, now when I say that, it simply means we're going to go through corrections. Because what is a very big bull market? Market go up, market go down to create high low. The market has to come down. And that's what's happening right now. We're coming down a little bit to create the high low. And people think the market coming down is the top. No, This is where the trend is your friend until the end. Okay, you know that. You've heard that before. Well, but what is a trend though? A trend is higher lows. Well, no, John, tell me something new. Okay, well, if you know that, the market has to come down a little bit to create the higher low. How does a high low form? Market up, market, and then we go back up, and then we go through the high low, right? Don't fight the market, man. So that's the first scenario. Look at this here. There is nothing bearish about this level from here. Nothing bearish. And then, well, what you're going to do, rule number one is what's the trend, okay? Rule number two is trade with the trend. Never fight the market. If the market overall momentum is in one direction, and that's what's happening right now in the stock market, just go with it. Why do you make life have difficulty? Now, I'm not talking about all of you guys, but large majority of you guys are doing the opposite to what you should be doing. Because you've got your cape, you're trying to pick tops and bottoms. Guess what? You know yourself. You trying to call tops in the bottom. You trying to call top in the market. You are going to get run over so bad, right? Look at this here. Because look at this here. When we start to look at things like the fear and greed index, right? Fear and greed index. And I've talked about this before. Let me show you this here. Let me bring this up to here for a minute, okay? This is the fear and greed index here. And this is the stock market right now. We're still at extreme fear. Now, Warren Buffett says, when people are fearful, be greedy. And when people are greedy, be fearful, right? Legends of the markets. Paul Tudor Jones says, wherever the trend and momentum is, go with that. All right? Whenever people are fearful, time to be greedy. The market is screaming at you right now about what's going on right now. Okay? And the market will always do the opposite to what people think. Okay? So right now we're at extreme fear. There's a lot of fear here. Okay? So firstly, big move here. Now check this out. This is where like a lot of traders get this completely wrong. Right? They get this completely wrong. And by when I say completely wrong, one of the wrong things that a lot of traders do is they're using the dollar's going to collapse, therefore it's all over. I'm going to go short the market. What are you doing? Well, actually, I know what you're doing. You're going to blow your account up, and then you're going to say, the market was manipulated, and it wasn't your fault, right? Bullshit. It is your fault. It is your fault that you're not trading well right now, right? Because no, you don't have any coach. You don't have any system. You're just trading based off of thought. Here. And for a lot of you guys, a lot of people, and again, I'm seeing it in my comment section right now. Again, go ahead. Go ahead. Extreme fear can be a sign that investors are worried. Now, this is where a lot of newbie traders in the markets get this completely wrong. They think, because logically they think, there's a lot of fear right now, the market's going to go down. And it doesn't. Right? That's when the bottom is. And this is where most traders who don't understand the markets as a whole, they try to use logic in the markets by saying there's a lot of fear, aka the fear and greed index is at fear right now. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of fear, the market's going to crash. And it doesn't. Why? Because you watch, within 3 months, where's this thing going to be? Up here somewhere. It's going to be in here somewhere. What does that mean? The market had a big rally. And then right? We go through swings and motions. Don't fight the market, man. Don't fight the market. So firstly, don't fight the market simply means we are in an upward environment, right? We are in an upward environment. We are in an upward trend. Go with that. This is called up. You want to have longevity in the market. You go with the trend. Don't fight the market. The market is trending up with pullbacks. Therefore, go with the market. Don't fight the market. Secondly, how the markets work is this. When fear can be a sign that investors are worried, that could be a buying opportunity. This particular thing here is highlighted. Look at this here, highlighted. When investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for some sort of correction, right? And so you get through these two different types of analysis here. So don't fight the market, and then on top of all this, right? This is where, guys, I'm telling you right now, if you've been watching my YouTube videos now for the last couple of weeks, you know that my number one thing has been what? Get ready for a really big move. And by the way, what has the stock market done for the last couple of years? Or for the last couple of weeks? What has it done? Say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Look at this here. Look at the Russell, right? Actually, I'll bring on the candlestick chart just so you can see what I'm looking at here, right? Look at the Russell, right? You're seeing this. You're seeing markets actually have really big moves to the upside. There's the Russell. Look, even the Dow, right? Dow's big moves up. S&P, like people calling tops, and we're a few percent away from the all-time new highs. And you're trying to call a top? What, you're going to be right now? What, you've been wrong? You've been wrong all year? And now you're going to be right? Like some economists I know? No, don't. What are you doing? You want to be around the long term? You want to be around in 5 years time frame? Why are you trying to call a top when you know at least 80 to 90% of the time you're going to be wrong? That's not a winning strategy. Well, I'm going to call the top right now because I'm going to be because you don't understand, John. Go ahead, right? Go ahead. Because no, the market is having a really big moves to the upside. Really big moves to the upside. And the Russell is leading the way. King Russell, baby. King Russell. Okay? So don't fight the market. And one of the things I want to share with you is this. Check this out. Now remember what I said. Is that this is it here. If we go to the Fear and Greed Index. And look at this here. When we start to get into now, what the fear and greed do in the market, we don't know exactly the bottom in the markets, but it gives you a rough gauge on what's likely to come over the next few months. So for example here, right, this thing here took about a couple of weeks for it to actually find a bottom in the markets, right? We had a bit more movement on the downside, but whether you traded here or you traded here in the stock market, where were we 3 months later? Here. So winner, chicken dinner. That's where we're headed for the next 3 months. Whether it stays here or whether we come back down to here again, where are we going to be 3 months from now? Probably up here. You see what I'm saying? So there's a massive probability because everything goes in. There's a cycle to everything. Don't fight the market. You will always lose. Down cycle, up cycle, down cycle, up. Everything goes through these cycles. You guys know that, or actually maybe you don't, right? But just remember here, right? Extreme fear could be a sign that investors are too worried. That could be a buying opportunity. When was the best time this year to buy the S&P 500? When was it, ladies and gentlemen? Down the bottom here. What was down the bottom here? You guessed it. Fear and greed index out of fear. There's a lot of fear. Fear. And then the market bounces. Market bounces when this here. And by the way, we're at extreme fear. This is the S&P 500 right now. All right. Let me remove the trend line so the market can keep going up. Like the trend line's going to do anything with that. All right. Look at this here. This is where we are now. That's all-time new highs. We are literally 2% away from all-time new highs. So my job here as a coach, which most of you guys are going to call me an idiot. You have no idea what we're talking about, John, but don't fight the market. You're always going to lose. Just look at the last couple of years. You trying to call tops in the markets has been 100% wrong. Meaning you get drops, they're little corrections, but not tops in markets. Top in market is where you get a real big correction, right? Right? There's little corrections, but not tops. So don't fight the market. We are getting ready for a big face ripper rally. And when we do start to evacuate the building, and it's coming, guys, right? We may get a little bit more volatility through here in the markets. This is the S&P, but guess what? Once we start to move, it is coming. Now, bit of FYI about what's coming here, okay? Don't fight the markets, okay? Now, what I'm saying here is two things. Firstly, again, you can check my equity curve out to see that I'm actually a real trader. Secondly, you can actually check out the people who actually I'll get coaching from. But thirdly, I'm actually long the markets right now. My money's where my mouth is. For you guys that are calling top right now, are you actually putting money in the market right now? If you are, I guarantee you're sweating bullets right now in the markets, and that's why you're probably watching my YouTube video this weekend, right? Or actually, it's not the weekend, isn't it? It's Thanksgiving. It feels like the weekend because the markets are closed. It's like, right? But anyway, so here we go. Rocket fuel to the upside. Everything is bullish to the upside. Don't fight the market. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Melt up. Rocket Man. Explosion. But, as we keep doing this, as we go up, that's when, guess what? That's when you, the person who's calling the top, is going to start to say, oh, well, John, you don't understand. This thing's going to 20,000 now. This is when you're going to start to get bullish. And then what happens? Then it does a big donut on your face.